Welcome. I bid you welcome. This is John Clauser from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another episode of Transform Tuesday. These are albums that I talk about where, as I was growing into being a Christian, what transformed my faith and what spoke to me, what helped me transform it being here in my head knowledge to more being in my heart knowledge. Now, um, this one is a compilation album that came out in 1995. It was introduced to me by a friend of one of the men that I was going to a men's group with, and this is somebody that he worked with, and he let me borrow a few albums. He kind of heard what I was into, and he said, "Well, why don't you try one of these bands?" And so he gave me like a couple of CDs to borrow and stuff like that. Um, so this band was definitely in my wheelhouse. um, these guys were kind of considered to be like a Christian version of Rat. Okay. Now, with their first album that came out in 1987. So this compilation album, like I said, this came out in 1995. This is from the band White Cross. This is called By Demand, the classics fans demand. So this was I guess this is more of a heavier version of a compilation album that came out. That was more of the hits and the not so much the rockers. This boy's got some rockers. All right. Attention, please. Boy, this got my attention. Man, great riff, great playing by Rex Carroll. Um, and as I mentioned, that they sounded like a Christian version of Rat, Scott Wenzel on vocals here, and they were the primary members for a little while until about 1992, and Rex left the band to kind of do some other ventures. But anyway, so attention, please. Fabulous song, great shredding guitar solo, but it's a way of God's trying to get your attention. He wants your attention, please. We know what's right. Man, great riff, great playing. We know what's right. We we stand and fight. We know what's right. It's time to rise. Come on and see the victory. It's great song. Can't say enough of it. But amazing guitar work on it. Take It to the Limit, another rocker. Gonna Keep On. It's probably the only ballad that's really on this. Kind of has a little bit of a rockin' flavor to it. Who Will You Follow? Another strong song. Nagasaki, just a unaccompanied solo. Good Enough. This would be kind of almost like kind of in that style of a Van Halen Hot for Teacher kind of feel. But it's a strong song. Down, Living on the Edge, Holy War, He Is the Rock. I mean, all great songs here. But again, it's the lyrics contained in the songs, how much they rocked, but there was also a really good, simple but strong message. And it was just something that, again, it spoke to me in many different ways. So it would be a band I would go back and try to find some other albums, would try to keep up with as best as I could. They really haven't done anything new since roughly since 1996. That was the last full length album they did. There would be some compilations, and there is a version of the band out there now, but I think they're basically just doing like reissues, but they're basically doing the core material. But I don't believe Scott's on vocals. I believe it's Rex Carroll mainly on guitar. Scott would go on to do missionary work. And he has a solo album or two out there as well. But man, I'll tell you, White Cross, great band. The debut is a great album. Hammer and Nail, Triumphant Return, In the Kingdom, all great albums. High Gear was another good one. The one album they did a couple of albums without Rex Carroll, Unveiled, Equilibrium, and Flight Trap. Again, all very strong, very powerful records. Kind of going with the times a little bit, but again, it would be a band that would just really speak to me in a lot of ways. So there you go. So White Cross by demand. So I would probably hear this in, it was like early 98. So yeah, great band. Great band, worth checking out. What do you think about White Cross? Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Let's talk. Let's have some conversations about God and faith. I'd love to have some conversation with y'all. So with that said, John Clauser for my Music Corner of the World. We will see you next week.